Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Thunderstruck Podcast with Tori. I am your host, Tori Ancona. This is episode 22 of the Thunderstruck Podcast with Tori, where I cover all things Los Angeles Chargers related. And, we are coming off of a rough playoff loss against the New England Patriots. And first things first, respect to the Patriot fans, especially the ones who, were a little bit sensitive to my last TikTok that I made on my account. Wanted to make this point very crystal clear for you guys because some of you guys don't have good comprehension skills, which is okay. It's totally fine. But I wasn't talking about the Patriots in a way where I was talking trash about them. I wasn't impressed with the player. I wasn't impressed with the teams that they've beaten to get to the position of 14-3 in the AFC. Now, in the playoffs, I'm a little bit more impressed because you guys made it all the way to the Super Bowl. So I'll give you guys your guys' flowers with that. But that's all I was trying to communicate. And out of all the teams in the AFC, I wanted to play you guys because I think the matchup was pretty even going into it. But clearly, the Los Angeles Chargers were just not fitted to win a single playoff game in this playoff run because of the limitations that, this team has. A horrible offensive line, injured, banged up quarterback. That's not a formula to go well in the playoffs. However, it took a weekend to get, some moves going for the Los Angeles Chargers, and they fired Greg Roman, which honestly, above all, was the number one priority. I know we need offensive line, but we needed to get Greg Roman out. And another reason why I thought that was because, we had the prime position to go up big against the New England Patriots after that interception by Deion Henley on Drake May. And we took the ball and we were, I think, past the 10-yard line. We didn't score a single point. We have Ladd McConkey. We have Amarian Hampton, who is activated. We had Vidal. We had Gadsden. We had Keenan Allen. We had Quentin Johnson. We have Trey Harris. We have weapons to score in that position. And we didn't score a single point. And when that happened, I was like, you know what? I think it's wraps, And clearly, when it comes to the Greg Roman experience, in the beginning of the year, we actually looked like a pretty above average offense of, we're scoring as much points as we can. There were some opportunities where, unfortunately we had to kick a field goal or maybe we had to punt or whatever, but it wasn't looking as inconsistent as it did for, until, it really shined against the Texans this year. It really shined against the Jaguars this year. But it shined the most in the brightest light, which was, the playoffs. And the Chargers were in no position to really take advantage of, the field position that they were given in those offensive drives. And, that's when it came down to when this team is banged up, Greg Roman simply did not have any answers to it. And there was only one man who we could hire to prevent that from happening again. And as of right now, January 26, 2026, on a Monday, Mike McDaniel has been hired as the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. And man, this is a move that I was on board with. As soon as the Dolphins fired Mike McDaniel, I'm like, if he ever had interest to go back to, his San Fran days and be an offensive coordinator and be a really good one at that, I really hope the Chargers look into it. And I didn't really expect the Chargers actually executing that plan, especially when, we were planning to hiring him last week, and then he had many interviews coming up and, truly made me overthink a bunch. But at the same time, I was just like, worst comes to worst, we would have to find a new offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, but say no more. We already found our offensive coordinator in Mike McDaniel, and I'm going to talk all about it in this episode. First, I'm just going to recap this Chargers-Patriots loss and talk about that, and then talk about, dip our toes in to some predictions and some stuff going into the offseason, which is coming up quick. I know the Super Bowl is on its way to being on the TV right now, but after the Super Bowl, we have a few weeks. Maybe we have a few weeks of re-signing players, and I will mention the players that we need to re-sign in this video as well. First things first, Chargers versus Patriots. And this was a game where first and foremost, when it comes to the Patriots, and I've seen it in the Charger game, the Texan game, and even yesterday in the Bronco game, you cannot make a mistake in this in the NFL and in playoff games. But when you make a mistake against Mike McDaniel, he will make you pay. He's taken advantage every single time. Oh, you're gonna go for it on 4th and 1? We stop you? All right, you're gonna regret that. Like he executes his plan, and it doesn't even matter if Drake May is, underperforming, because, he is. For an MVP caliber quarterback, he has been underperforming. And simply it's because of his experience. And he is still, 23 years old? I'm going to turn 21 this week. So put that in perspective. I know I look like a child, but anyway, that's besides the point. Drake May has made plays, and I'm not gonna just credit him. He made plays in the Charger game as well, but for an MVP caliber quarterback, he didn't look great. And the Chargers defense, I knew was going to be our strongest suit coming into this game. And if you were to tell me that the Chargers would have allowed 16 points against the #1 offense in the league, I would be like, you know what? Sign me up. And, getting 2 turnovers and potentially a 3rd turnover that, we didn't recover the football, but it's okay. First come to mind when I recap this game is we need to re-sign Odafe Oweh. Like ASAP, re-sign this man. This guy has been, the best in-season trade we've ever made as a franchise in the last 30 years. Long before my time. I can't recall a player that we traded for in the season that has stepped up and be a big contributor to this team. He was incredible. Could potentially be one of the best defensive performances of the season, of the postseason. And, that goes unnoticed because we were a first-round exit, but that's besides the point. When it comes to Odafe Oweh, he needs to be re-signed immediately. Same with TSPWTORE. I know he had a amazing first half of the year, kind of slowed down, but then he stepped up. He had a really good game, truly had a good game. They're not going to hold the Patriots defense without a touchdown for long. I saw that coming. So that touchdown that they scored, what can you do about it? Drake May is a runner. He's a track star. He's going to run. He's going to try to extend plays by using his legs. Very hard to stop. And yeah, man, can't really complain about how the defense performs. But what I will complain about is this offense. Because, man, everybody's going to look at this guy to blame, which, it's the easiest thing that you can do. Was he perfect? No, he wasn't. But if I were to, look at this game, I would be like, who's going to be the quarterback that would step up under these conditions? Who's going to be the quarterback that plays well under that situation that Justin Herbert was in that wild card round? Well, Joe Burrow took the worst O-line to the Super Bowl a few years ago. So I don't know if you guys know math, but the 20th ranked offensive line, when you have the best wide receiver duo in the league, a top 5 running back at the time, and you've had the 20th ranked offensive line all year. The 20th ranked is not 32nd ranked offensive line, which this guy, has. So yeah, you can throw that out the window. There has been absolutely no quarterback that has, have made a deep playoff run in these predicaments. And I think it's easy to sit here and being like, well, this is if man and that, and sure. Let's keep it a buck. I don't think he's the biggest if man in the AFC. I think that's somebody else, but that's another discussion for another time because, I don't think he's ever made the NFL change any rules for him or hell, I don't think he's had a terrible fumble at the end of the half for no reason to give 3 points to the other team. I don't think he's ever done that. So let's chill when we evaluate Justin Herbert, because just like what I've said in the past with, Lamar Jackson not playing as well, he's under a situation where, he's working with no defense. He had one of the worst defensive showcases I've ever seen on his team. And am I going to look at that Steeler game and I'm going to be like, you know what, Lamar Jackson, you were the reason why the Ravens are not winning that game? Absolutely not. Or if you look at Bryce Young, who played amazing in that fourth quarter against the Rams, am I going to blame him? No, I'm not. And obviously, at the quarterback position, there's going to be plays where, you're going to shake your head and you're not going to, be too fond of the decision making. But at the same time, it's just like, he's not the say all be all of what needs to be fixed on this team. And for anybody thinking that Justin Herbert needs to be replaced, zero ball knowledge you have. I'm very sorry. It's an incredible disease that, really warps your brain. And I'm really sorry that you suffer every single day with zero ball knowledge. But I want you to tell me who's going to replace Justin Herbert on the Chargers. Who's going to replace Justin Herbert right now? Because there's nobody in the draft and nobody that we could trade for is going to be a better fit than Justin Herbert right now. He's been the guy. And when it comes to talent, and I know you hear this every single offseason, when it comes to talent, you do not land on a Justin Herbert often, and the Chargers were fortunate enough to do that. And when it comes to Harbaugh, he's doing everything that he can this offseason, and I really think him firing Greg Roman was a step in the right direction of, changing the atmosphere of, the old Harbaugh way. He's doing everything that he can to make sure that this guy will end up a Hall of Famer or a Super Bowl champion or both. You know what I mean? When it comes to Justin Herbert, I think what really is going unnoticed is that he still made the playoffs when he was still injured, and he worked with the most horrible interior offensive line that I've seen in a minute. 29 offensive line combinations. I've seen nothing quite as extreme as that. And, I know the expectation was to maybe upset New England, but we were in no position to win against New England or win against anyone in the playoffs, just because we were just showing inconsistent on offense. We had no running game, no running schemes at all, and when wide receivers were getting open, it would be routes that would take 4 seconds to develop, which, Herbert has no time to wait for routes to develop. So firing Greg Roman is definitely a step in the right direction, like I said, and hiring Mike McDaniel, I think it's a great hire. And I'm going to transition to Mike McDaniel real quick. Mike McDaniel has had some productive years with Tua as, his quarterback, which really says wonders. But at the same time, I think what is more impressive than that is that when he would have a banged up quarterback or when he would have a banged up offensive line, guess what he did that Greg Roman couldn't? He adjusted. What a concept. He looked for either players to sign or he looked for schemes that would complement, their strong suit. And that was the running game. And honestly, there was some Greg Roman running performances that I personally liked. Surely the Kamani Vidal performance against Minnesota comes to mind. Even against Miami comes to mind when it comes to dominant running attack, but it was inconsistent throughout. It would either be every 4 weeks we would have a good running attack, or it would be another game where, Justin Herbert would lead the team in rushing. I think he led the team in rushing like 8 times this year. Unacceptable. I'm loving that we understand that Justin Herbert can run with the football, but at the same time, he can't just do everything. He can't just do everything to succeed. You know what I mean? And that's just team sports. I mean, he can't just do everything. And honestly, with him being capable of running as well, imagine having a good rushing attack when it comes to the running backs. And, Amari Hampton is healthy, and, we're bringing in the right guys to come up with those schemes to really get 4 yards, 5 yards a carry. I think that's just going to be super beneficial. And hiring Mike McDaniel, who, led a Dolphin team where Raheem Mostert got 18 touchdowns and now he's not even in the league anymore. I think, I mean, the sky's the limit for the Chargers, honestly. And going forward, I think we need to look at foundations, either with coaches or management of other teams that, have been banged up and they still are effective and they still don't miss a beat. Like maybe a San Francisco coach, or maybe even, what's another banged up team other than San Francisco? I can't think of any right now, but San Francisco is the perfect example. They were a little bit too banged up to really make a deep playoff push, but they still won a playoff game. They beat the Super Bowl champs even, despite being that banged up. So, I think that really says wonders that Mike McDaniel has been under that Shanahan tree, and him bringing that up to Harbaugh, I think it's going to be really beneficial as well. And Mike McDaniel is A+ hire. I think this is the best offensive coordinator that Justin Herbert has ever had. And it's a shame that, Kellen Moore had a pretty decent year with us when he was here, and Shane Steichen had a pretty good year his rookie year. But I also wanted to mention that Justin Herbert, in all of his years of playing in the NFL, he hasn't had it would be either one thing or the other. He would have a great offense and then a bottom tier defense, or he would have a bottom tier offense and he would have a top tier defense. It would be no in between. You could see all the statistics say that, he has an electric offense. It's top 10, it's top 12. And then when Brandon Staley was the coach, it was bottom tier, I think 28th defense ranked. And we have far too much talent on the defense to be that low. And then Harbaugh steps in, and Harbaugh has always had a great defense. So Jesse Minter leaving for the Baltimore head coaching job is a little bit of a bummer, but in no way, shape, or form I'm really devastated yet about Harbaugh finding a new defensive mind to trust. And I think he's going to find the right guy, or even promote our defensive backs coach to step in, but I digress. I think Justin Herbert this year will be in the prime position to have a good offensive coordinator and have a good defensive coordinator. And simply, I think this is the year where this is now going to be on him to really make sure he executes, make sure he stays healthy. And it's on the Chargers to stay healthy as well. Rashawn Slater needs to come back. Joe Alt needs to come back. Hampton needs to stay healthy. And we need to be aggressive. We gotta re-sign the players that played effectively on this team. Odafe Tier, Tart, just to mention a few, and really look into what we need for this free agency. And we will talk about that in the next episode, but I just want to hop on here, celebrate the Mike McDaniel signing after, a very disappointing loss. But, brighter days are ahead, and I'm very optimistic about what's next. And it's going to be a fun, entertaining offseason. And hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bolt up as always, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.